Thank you, Richard. So I'm now going to move on to talk about some of the content of the programme and how it's structured and how it's delivered. And then we'll come back to Richard a little bit later on to look specifically about the leadership module, which is a core capstone module within the programme, and how we, in practice, help you to develop your leadership skills. So the first point to note about the programme is it is aligned to the Senior Leader Master's Degree Apprenticeship Standard. It's a Level 7 standard that defines approximately 60 key knowledge, skill and behaviour competencies that a senior leader should demonstrate. It's the apprenticeship standard, the apprenticeship structure that provides the funding for the programme. And at the end of the programme, you go through an endpoint assessment, having completed your master's, to calibrate yourself against the senior leader standard and hopefully to be awarded a good that relates to that standard. But it's absolutely driving some of the key content. Next slide, please, Hannah. So how do we go around teaching executive education programs? Well, one of the key points around our delivery model is that we very much look to employ teachers to use subject experts who have professional backgrounds. So we're not about using academics for academic sake. Yes, there is academic content. However, anybody that we put in front of you will be industrially credible. They will have a background with industry, who will have been there and will have done it, and will have demonstrated their particular subject expertise in the real world, which gives a much stronger grounding for teaching and a much better place to start the debate from. In terms of teaching, we use short blocks of intensive teaching. Under normal circumstances, pre-COVID and hopefully post-COVID as well, we would teach each module using 4 days of face-to-face tuition in a small group. At the moment, we're obviously teaching online in a slightly less intensive manner to teach the subjects on a sort of half-day a week type basis for each module. We use small cohorts, so typically cohort size will be between 10 and 15 people. Why do we like that sort of size of group? Well, there's enough people within that size group to bring together a range of experience to drive discussion, but there's not too many people that it inhibits discussion, and we can take a really discussive approach to the subject area, exploring it together. And we expect everybody who comes on the programme to be able to contribute their experience, their thoughts on each individual subject matter, and to share that experience with the group. And as a result, we all benefit from that process. How do we assess your progress? Everything is through coursework. We don't have any exams on the programme. Each module will have 1 or 2 pieces of coursework to complete. Those pieces of coursework are also helping you to demonstrate that you meet the requirements of the senior leader standard as well as being the building blocks for attaining your MSc. We very much take an approach of experiential learning, using case studies, discussion, exploring how things work in practice, sharing our experiences to make the most out of the subject, bring it to life. And we very much encourage you through the coursework, but also through your day-to-day activities, to take the content we're discussing back into your workplace and apply it and explore it within the context of your workplace. Most of the courseworks that we do will be applied back to your place of work and enable you to demonstrate the competencies that we're looking for from a master's programme perspective, senior leader standard, but also to enable you to add some value in your business as you go along. In terms of the environment, hopefully from session today, you'll see that myself and Richard are very enthusiastic about what we do. We provide a really supportive environment for our students. The fact that we're bringing together like-minded people from within engineering businesses or engineers by trade together enables us to build a community that have a number of shared values and shared interests, and it means we can focus very much more on things that are relevant with the engineering sector. Next slide, please, Hannah. So in terms of our executive education, we have a very, very long track record in teaching in engineering and management. And this particular programme has been designed to build on those experiences and capabilities, bring them within the scope of the senior leader standard, so the programme can be fundable through the apprenticeship levy, and designed to help develop tomorrow's leaders of within the engineering sector. So bringing together three things which are kind of indicated within the title of the programme: leadership skills, some appropriate management theory, and enhancing your technical capability and applying all of those things within the context of the engineering sector. That's how the programme is positioned. Next slide, please, Hannah. So I've already mentioned the programme lasts for 2.5 years. First 2 years being the taught element of the programme. So during those first 2 years, we study 8 modules. Each module typically has 4 days tuition associated with it. 8 modules over 2 years, 4 modules over 1 year, roughly 1 module per quarter, 4 days studying this during each quarter of the year. So that's the way the programme is structured. We also support block teaching with additional webinar sessions as well, where we'll get together in a group on an online session, hopefully much more interactive than the format today, to discuss progress and to look at additional issues that may be relevant to the module, and to do some of the teaching in that format. And as I also indicated earlier, the final piece of work you do is a work-based project. It has 3 outputs. One part is a conventional dissertation type structure, although perhaps a little bit less academic and more industrial focused than in most cases. A professional summary of that project, so looking at the business benefits, the business case for doing the work, the business benefits that come out of that particular project, and also that then feeds into the senior leader standard. You take part in an endpoint assessment where an external assessor asks you some questions about your project and you get to present it. So doing a number of things, the final project. Throughout the programme, the assignments and the projects that you do build into a portfolio. It's an electronic portfolio that enable you to demonstrate that you've not only met the requirements of the master's degree programme, but that you've demonstrating your achievement of the senior leader standard, and its 60+ knowledge, skill and behaviour requirements. So some of that comes automatically from the assignments that we do on the MSc. Some of it you're required to provide additional evidence of you applying a particular skill within the workplace. But over the course of the programme, we work with you. You have a professional supervisor from the university to help you develop a portfolio that shows completion of the senior leader standard, which is then assessed by an external assessor, in our case from the Chartered Management Institute, through an endpoint assessment process. So basically just presenting your portfolio, presenting your project, and going through a Q&A session during which you demonstrate that you've met the requirements of the senior leader standard. Okay, next slide please, Hannah. So in terms of the programme structure, I've already indicated there are 8 modules that you learn over the 2 years. Some of those are core. So we study subjects such as strategy, mastering strategy, and look at the business landscape. We look at strategic financial management. We have a major capstone module in leadership that concludes the taught elements of the programme. And we also help you to build your research skills, help you in your final project, but also to help you on a day-to-day basis in terms of your business activities, to understand the basics of business research and the application of certain techniques gather appropriate information, qualitative and quantitative, for decision making. There's also a module in engineering program management, which looks at project management in the context of engineering, but then extends that through to think not just about projects, but a whole program of change within the engineering function. You also have two options that you take, which can be around operational effectiveness. How do we improve the business? Techniques of continuous improvement included in that area. How should we engage with our customers in the customer engagement module? How do we position our business? How do we market it? How do we manage our customer relationships? Or we could look at how you manage your supply chain within your organisation, or indeed without your organisation. And also there's an option in human resource management to help you develop your people management skills. So those are the taught elements, and then of course there's the major employer project at the end of the final 6 months of the programme. Next slide please, Hannah. Earlier slides, our programme is around experiential learning. We study our ideas, in many cases before a session, come together in university-led sessions to discuss, to explore, and we go away and we implement, we further explore the topics that we're looking at within the workplace, often through the medium of an assessment. So all about applying the knowledge and the theory that we're studying in class back within the workplace to get maximum learning and maximum benefit for you and for your employer. Next slide please, Hannah. So in terms of our team, you've already met two of us, so myself and Richard. Also within our team on the programme, we have Jack Carnell, who's a former CEO of a water company, so really experienced in leadership within business. Brings a wealth of understanding around leadership in practice as well as in theory. He is in conjunction with Richard, one of the key lecturers in the area of leadership on the programme. So brings a huge amount of expertise and experience to our programme. We've also got Professor Ed Sweeney, who focuses on supply chain. So he also supports the research methods module, as well as supports the supply chain management module within the programme. Again, a massively experienced academic, but also with a lot of industry experience as well that he brings to the programme. In terms of our mastering strategy module, we have a gentleman, Dr. Dan Park, who does a number of things. He has been on the board of BMW. He edits the Harvard Business Review. He runs a consultancy business in terms of strategy. There's a wealth of experience doing that. He's a university professor as well, speaks 6 languages, and has worked with many of the leading companies around the globe on the development of strategy. Huge asset to the programme. My own contribution, my background's in supply chain business development. I'm an accountant by trade as well, and I focus on the financial content as well as some of the business landscape content of the programme. And of course there's Richard, former senior military commander and strategist, who brings a huge amount of experience and enthusiasm to the delivery of the programme. And that's just some of the team. It just gives you a flavour of some of the excellent people that we have who contribute to this programme. Next slide please, Hannah. Okay, so in terms of content, we talked about the fact that there are these 3 corners of the programme, one being around management theory and practice, one being around leadership, one being about technical capability. So in terms of management theory and practice, we give you the tools to strategically analyse a organisation's environment and to develop the strategy of that organisation. Getting to grips with the business environment. Richard talked earlier about some elements, business landscape that you as a senior leader really need to be able to understand. We give you that knowledge and the appropriate skills that go with that. From a financial perspective, we help you understand the numbers and the key reporting statements of the organisation, how to analyse them. Much more importantly, how to make good financial decisions going forward in terms of where investment is placed, where we allocate capital to maximise the performance of the business. There's some key content in that area around resource management, decision making, and particularly we look at how you make decisions, both financial and strategic decisions, in context of risk. And Richard gave some great examples of risks that are real and present out in the environment today. But how do we make decisions in an uncertain world with uncertain estimates and risks within our environment? So we're very much focused on that management theory and practice piece. Hannah, move on to the next slide. In terms of leadership, I'm going to pass back over to Richard in just a moment to talk through how we in practice develop leadership skills within our cohorts. And in fact, I'll probably hand straight over to you here, Richard, to go forward on to talk about the leadership module, brings together all of the other talk content in the programme.